He has been a pain in my side ever since I moved into the neighborhood. I moved in about a year and a half ago, and I bought a fixer-upper house. So I had to do a lot of renovations. I had to redo the bathroom. I had to redo the kitchen. I had to knock out a wall to make the living room bigger. There were a couple of Saturdays where I had to just have those 2 Saturdays workable because I had a pool built in my backyard, and so
are you allowed to do construction in your town on a Saturday? That's my question.
Yes, on a Saturday I'm allowed to, just not on Sundays.
Okay.
Again, since I moved in, it seems like he had a problem with me just when I started.
What makes you say that he had a problem with you?
He would always, when I first met him, he was really just trying to come and tell me all the rules of the neighborhood and, you know.
Like what?
Oh, you don't have too many cars, the noise level for this, make sure you take your trash cans in at this time. I like to host events, and especially since I have my pool in my back, I would host a lot of events. And
how many people would you have over?
I would say about 10 to 20 people.
Okay.
Every time I would host an event, he would find some kind of way. First, I would see him in his, like maybe looking out in the backyard, or find some way to be in the backyard, and then all of a sudden he would have to mow his lawn. And after the third time, I asked him, I'm like, hey, you know, I've noticed that you seem to be mowing your lawn every time I'm throwing an event.
All right, and what was it? It was a baby shower?
So it was a baby shower for one of my closest friends. The child is my godchild. And so it was, of course, a little bigger than my usual events, maybe about 40 to 50 people.
Okay.
And I had a lot of things going on. I had decorations, of course. We played games at the baby shower. I had games and prizes and everything. And I had a DJ, and I had food catered. There were a lot of things I paid for, Your Honor. I'm just asking for the money back for the DJ and for the food because
what?
Because it was ruined by him mowing his lawn at the particular time that I was having my event. I previously discussed with him that when he mows his lawn, the pollen, the grass clippings that comes over, our gate is only 3 feet, so it all comes over to my yard. He waited until I put the food out in the backyard, put everything, all the food out, and then moments later.
You had texted him that morning and said, can I see the text? Do you have the text?
I do. I have the text.
Yeah, let me see. I want to.
Thank you.
Hi, Dave. I'm going to be hosting a baby shower in the backyard today, 12 to 5. I would really appreciate it if you would not mow your lawn during that time. Olivia, I will see if I'm able to accommodate that. I also have plans today and cannot guarantee it'll work with your time frame. Okay, I would really appreciate it. It's a very important day. Then at 1:11, Dave, I'm asking you again, please mow your lawn at a different time. It's causing grass clippings and pollen to get into my yard while I'm hosting. Thank you. His answer, Olivia, sorry if it's an issue for you, but just like your construction bothered me at times, I guess this bothers you. Sometimes as neighbors, we just need to put up with things. For example, I put up with listening to your home construction on the weekends. To which you respond, I had a feeling you were intentionally doing this because of my construction. Wow.
Yeah.
Were you?
No. It's.
How mad can you get over someone doing construction? It's kind of. That's kind of permitted, right? Like, I know how deafening and annoying and everything it can be. But if it's within the parameters of whatever your town permits, then you really have no, what is it you want her to do? Not construct on the place?
No, absolutely. There are totally times and regulations for when she can construct, and she was doing that Monday through Friday. When it started to bleed through the weekend, that's when I started to have a problem with it.
Well, here's my question, though. She says that in her town she can build on Saturdays. Sometimes you can, and sometimes towns you cannot. Do you have any evidence to suggest that she cannot, or any copies of any laws to suggest she was violating anything? Did you ever call building and zoning and say, hey, illegal activity next door, construction on a Saturday? Any of that ever happen?
I just didn't understand why it needed to when it was going on for a year already.
Because sometimes you're not in control of your construction. Right. Have you ever done any construction? No. Let me tell you how it works. They say, I'm going to be there on your birthday, and you say, thank you, sir, may I have another? That's kind of how it works. So sometimes you're not really in control of that kind of thing, all right? But in any event, and I say this, my father was a contractor, my brother is a contractor, and I have had both my father and my brother do work on my homes, and it was hard. And those are people who ostensibly I can control because they're my father and my brother, and it's just hard. This is a tough industry. Too many moving parts.
I totally understand that. My grandfather built houses on his own. I totally get it.
Okay. So, was she throwing loud parties?
They weren't loud, but
Okay.
they would happen, and they were on the weekend. That's also my only free time as well, and I enjoy the upkeep of my home.
Are you allowed to mow on Sundays?
There's nothing against
Nothing
mowing on
preventing
Sunday.
it.
No,
Okay. Are you allowed to mow shirtless? There are some towns that prevent that.
there's nothing against that.
Isn't that something? All right. She had texted you and said, I'm having a party. The neighborly thing would be to wait until the next day to mow your lawn, right? It's not that hard. Why was it that hard for you?
I had already had set plans for the day for the weekend that I was dealing with. If she had texted me well in advance, especially for a baby shower, like that seems like such a huge event that could have been told to me a week, a month in advance, and I would have been able to feasibly move around things to make sure that wasn't going to happen. But to text me a couple hours before it happens, when I've already had things I was going to be doing that weekend, it made it far harder to accommodate with what she wanted from me.
Do you think she's inconsiderate of you?
I think she's inconsiderate of most of our neighbors.
Because of the construction?
A lot of it, yeah. I mean, it just went and was incredibly loud, waking up to drilling and hammering and digging in the backyard.
But she has a right to beautify her place. It makes your property value go up. So, I mean, it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Sometimes that takes long, but you mad at her because of the construction?
This was never a repercussion of the construction. When I said that it was an example, it was an example. Sometimes those things happen on the weekend, then I want you to know that when I'm going to mow my lawn, it's also going to be on the weekend.
Okay, how do you figure that I should make him pay $832 to chip in for the baby shower that you threw because the guy did what, mow his lawn?
Yeah, he mowed his lawn.
But isn't that a risk you run when you have a garden party and you ask the guy, hey, don't mow your lawn, you inform the guy, please don't mow your lawn between these hours today, I'm having a party, you don't have a right for him not, just like he doesn't have a right to stop your construction if it's legal, you don't have a right to stop his mowing a lawn. That's a risk that you run when you throw a party inches away from his lawn, right? So if you don't like the noise or the clippings, then you take the party inside.
Sure, Your Honor, but at that point, he, like I said, as soon as I put the food out, he has a long lawn, Your Honor. He could have started at the total opposite end of his lawn. He starts right near the food, Your Honor.
Were your people there yet?
Yeah, my people were there, and he starts right near the food. And so one of my guests went to go get some food, and it had grass clippings all over it.
Don't put the food so close to the next yard.
Well, where we sat, I felt like where I sat the food.
Here's a problem.
He
thinks your property belongs to him, and you think his property belongs to you, and you're both wrong. Each of your properties belong to you respectively, okay? Because each of you have a right to make noise on your property. Each of you has to tolerate the noise the other person makes, unless it exceeds the boundaries of the law. Like, you're not allowed to construct on Sunday and you're doing it. Or like, you're not allowed to mow after midnight and he's doing it. Those are the only things you have rights to complain about. Anything else is stuff y'all got to work out among yourselves. And if no one's being neighborly and friendly, for example, you're not giving sufficient notice because you weren't organized enough, you're not requesting the right way because you catch more flies with honey, right? If that's the way it's going to be, then these are the results you're going to get. Y'all have to look. You better buy 20 acres somewhere if you don't want neighbors, because until you do, the plane doesn't belong to you. So if a baby's crying, shut up. Okay, and this his property doesn't belong to you either, and your property doesn't belong to him. You have to learn to coexist. Okay. So no, he's not going to pay for part of your baby shower. Not one part, not another part, not any part. And let me tell you that I'm not stupid. I kind of think he might have done it on purpose too. And I think he might have done it on purpose because he doesn't like how you spend a year and a half making noise with no warning or anything else, working Saturdays without telling him, hey, I'm really sorry, the pool guy has to come on Saturday. And then you send him a text at 8 in the morning and tell him, I'm going to need you not to mow between 12 and 5. Yeah, that may be what set it off. verdict for the defendants.
I have to agree with the judge. I also think he did it on purpose. And he is right in his defense when he said she could have sent him the text way in advance, at least a week in advance. I'm pretty sure she already knew that she's going to be hosting a baby shower at that point. And maybe show up at his door with a cake or cookies or something homemade, say, I'm so sorry for the inconvenience. Would you please be so kind not to do A, B, and C? And I do apologize for the noise that's been coming from my backyard and my remodeling. Something to that matter. And maybe in that case, he would have been a little bit more accommodating to what you need. What did you guys think about this case? Leave me in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching.